The most mighty queen of the galaxy unexpectedly declared me her spouse, shocking the whole court. Born on a quiet blue and green planet in a system that most aliens barely knew existed, he had lived a simple life, studying diplomacy and languages. Humans, in the vast expanse of the galactic community, were often overlooked. They were considered fragile, inexperienced, and sometimes amusingly naive. Alex had grown up hearing tales of alien civilizations with towering cities, unimaginable technology, and wisdom that spanned millennia. He had always felt small, almost insignificant compared to the grandeur of the universe. Yet here he was, standing in the enormous ceremonial hall of the galactic capital. The hall stretched endlessly, filled with polished floors that reflected shimmering light from the hovering crystal chandeliers above. Alien banners of all shapes and colors hung from the high walls, each representing a different species. The atmosphere was thick with ceremony and tradition, every sound amplified by the hall's acoustic design. And in the middle of all this, Alex felt like a tiny, fragile dot. The humans' delegation had been given a modest place in the hall. Alex glanced at the other ambassadors, some of whom towered over him with long, armored limbs or glowing eyes. He tried not to let the intimidation show. Diplomacy, he reminded himself, was not about size or strength. It was about calm, wit, and observation. "Relax, Alex," whispered Mara, his assistant, a fellow human who had been in galactic diplomacy longer than he had. "Remember, you are here because the Council trusts you. Don't let them see you nervous." Alex nodded, straightening his suit, though his stomach churned. The Galactic Council was not known for leniency, and mistakes in protocol could be disastrous. Every alien species had its own customs, some of them strange and intricate. A wrong gesture, a delayed bow, or a missed phrase could be seen as an insult. And insults in this hall could start wars, or at least severe diplomatic conflicts. As the hall filled, a hush fell over the crowd. From the massive doors at the far end emerged the queen herself, Aurelia Veyron, the most mighty queen of the galaxy. She moved with a grace that seemed almost unreal, her presence commanding attention without a word. Her robe shimmered like liquid starlight, flowing behind her like a river of light. Every ambassador bowed instinctively, some so low that they nearly touched the floor. Alex felt his knees tremble. "Just a ceremony," he murmured to himself. "Just a ceremony." The queen's eyes scanned the hall, sharp and intelligent. Her gaze paused briefly on Alex. He felt an odd warmth, as if she had noticed something in him others had overlooked. He quickly looked away, hoping no one noticed his reaction. The ceremony began with traditional speeches from elder representatives, each praising the Queen's wisdom and the galaxy's unity. Alex listened carefully, noting the subtle cues, the tiny nods, and the hand signals that indicated approval or dissent among the alien dignitaries. It was a delicate dance, and one misstep could ripple through the Council's power structure. Then came the ceremonial procession. Delegates were to present gifts symbolizing peace, prosperity, and loyalty. Alex watched as massive crates were carried forward, each containing artifacts, rare minerals, or even living creatures from distant planets. When it was the human delegation's turn, Alex stepped forward nervously. He had been advised to present a simple holographic globe showing Earth's resources and potential for cooperation. It was modest, but it reflected humanity's sincerity. He activated the hologram. The globe spun slowly, oceans shimmering blue and green lands glowing softly. The alien spectators murmured among themselves. Some appeared confused, others curious. A few, particularly those from technologically advanced species, seemed mildly amused. Alex swallowed his nerves. "Your Majesty," he said, bowing respectfully, "we offer this as a symbol of humanity's willingness to work together for peace and prosperity across the galaxy." The Queen's eyes flickered again, and for a moment Alex thought he saw a hint of amusement, or perhaps interest. She nodded slightly, and Alex felt a surge of relief. Perhaps he had done well. But then, as he straightened, disaster struck. In a moment of distraction, Alex accidentally knocked the holographic projector. It slipped from his hand, spun in the air, and landed with a soft thud right in front of the Queen. The globe wobbled and began to project a distorted, spinning image, making the continent stretch and twist in strange ways. Gasps filled the hall. Several alien ambassadors whispered urgently to one another, some muttering about human incompetence. Alex froze, mortified. He was certain he had ruined everything. Before panic could set in, he acted instinctively. Bending quickly, he stabilized the device with one hand, corrected its angle, and managed to reset the hologram. The globe resumed its normal, serene rotation. The crisis, small though it was, had been averted. The hall fell silent. The Queen leaned forward slightly, her eyes studying him carefully. Alex straightened, heart-pounding, unsure of what she was thinking. Then she did something unexpected. She smiled. A small, rare smile, warm and approving. A whisper traveled through the hall, almost lost in the vastness of the space. Admiration. It was a subtle victory, but for Alex it was monumental. Humans were rarely noticed in such spaces, let alone respected. He had handled a tense situation calmly, with no allies nearby, relying only on his wits and reflexes. As the ceremony concluded, the delegates returned to their seats. Alex, still flushed with relief, noticed that some of the more skeptical ambassadors were now observing him differently. There was a sense of quiet acknowledgement. This human was not as fragile as they had assumed. Later, in the private chambers reserved for ambassadors, Mara leaned over. "You did well," she whispered. "That was impressive. Not many could have recovered so gracefully. You might actually have made them reconsider humans." Alex shook his head, smiling nervously. "I just didn't want to embarrass myself or Earth." But deep down, he felt a spark of pride. Perhaps humans were more capable than anyone believed. Unbeknownst to Alex, the Queen had not forgotten his composure. As she returned to her private quarters, she reflected on his actions. In a galaxy filled with beings who had lived for thousands of years, with wisdom and power beyond measure, this human had shown something remarkable: courage under pressure, quick thinking, and a calmness that inspired confidence. These qualities, rare and precious, had caught her attention in a way that no protocol or ceremony ever could. The seeds of something unprecedented were quietly being planted. A human, small, unassuming, underestimated, had begun to make his mark. And though Alex did not yet know it, his life was about to change in ways he could never have imagined. The grand hall was emptying now. Delegates left, discussing their observations and gossiping about the unexpected talent of the human diplomat. Alex walked alongside Myra, trying to maintain a casual demeanor, though his mind was racing. Every step he took felt heavy with the weight of possibility. As they reached the exit, a sudden hush fell over the corridor. Alex looked up and saw the Queen herself approaching. Her presence was magnetic, commanding yet gentle. She stopped in front of him, her gaze locking onto his. "Alex Mercer," she said, her voice smooth but firm, "you have handled today with grace and intelligence. Not many could have done what you did." Alex blinked, caught off guard. Thank you, Your Majesty," he stammered. "I only tried to—" "You tried nothing," she interrupted gently, smiling again. You acted when it mattered. That is something far more valuable than mere protocol or ceremony." For the first time in his life, Alex felt truly seen, not as a human, not as a representative of a small planet, but as an individual with potential and courage. As the Queen turned to leave, she added almost as an afterthought, "Remember this feeling. It will be important in the days to come." Alex watched her go, his mind spinning. Something had shifted. He could feel it in the air, in the whispers of the hall, in the subtle looks of the other delegates. Today, he had taken the first step into a universe that might finally see humans differently. And he had no idea just how extraordinary the next step would be. The following morning, the galactic capital was alive with activity. Alien merchants moved swiftly through the grand corridors, carrying exotic goods from distant star systems. Ambassadors and envoys prepared for the day's meetings, discussing matters of trade, defense, and diplomacy. Alex Mercer, however, felt a strange mix of excitement and anxiety. The events of yesterday had left him shaken, but strangely proud. He had never expected that a single act of composure in a ceremony could draw the attention of the most mighty queen herself. Yet now he found himself thinking constantly about her words, her rare smile, and the quiet acknowledgement in her eyes. Myra walked beside him, her expression a mix of amusement and concern. "You've been staring at the ceiling for half an hour," she said. "Come on, Alex, focus. Today is when the council meetings begin. You need to pay attention." Alex nodded, though his mind kept drifting back to the Queen. There was something about her presence that felt different. She was not just a ruler, she was someone who saw potential where others saw weakness. The council chamber was even larger than the ceremonial hall. It had towering pillars made of crystal-like material, and the ceiling displayed a holographic projection of the galaxy, showing every system, planet, and fleet under the Queen's domain. Representatives of hundreds of species were seated, each section marked with symbols and colors unique to their civilization. Alex took his place among the human delegation, trying to appear composed. He had prepared for months, studying alien customs, political protocols, and the intricate hierarchies of the council. Yet, despite all his preparation, nothing could have readied him for what happened next. The doors at the far end of the chamber opened with a quiet hum. Queen Aurelia Veyron entered, her presence commanding immediate attention. The council fell silent, all eyes on her. She moved gracefully to her throne, elevated above the assembly, and gestured for everyone to rise. "Counselors, ambassadors, and delegates of the galaxy," she began, her voice steady and clear echoing throughout the chamber. "Today is a day of great importance. Today we consider the strength, the loyalty, and the courage that bind our galaxy together." Her gaze swept across the room and briefly paused on Alex. He felt his heart skip a beat, and he tried not to fidget. He had learned that maintaining composure was key, but his mind raced with questions. Why was she looking at him so intently? The Queen's next words stunned him. "I have made a decision," she said, her tone calm but authoritative. "One that may surprise many of you. I hereby declare Alex Mercer of the planet Earth to be my spouse." A thunderous silence filled the chamber. Alex froze in disbelief. Did she just say what he thought she said? He glanced at Mara, who looked equally shocked, her hand covering her mouth. Alien delegates exchanged confused glances, some whispering urgently to one another. One of the counselors, a tall, armored being from the planet Zorath, spoke up. "Your Majesty, did I hear correctly? You are proposing a human as your spouse?" The Queen's eyes, sharp and unwavering, met his. "Yes. Alex Mercer has demonstrated qualities that surpass mere protocol or status. He has courage, quick thinking, and composure under pressure. These are qualities worthy of partnership." Murmurs and whispers spread through the chamber like wildfire. Many could not believe what they had just heard. Aliens who had ruled for centuries were stunned into silence. To them, humans were considered fragile, inexperienced, and insignificant. Now one human, this human, was being elevated to a position that none could have imagined. Alex could hardly speak. I don't understand," he stammered. His mind raced, struggling to process the Queen's words. "Your Majesty, I am just a diplomat. I am honored, but—" The Queen raised a hand, silencing him gently but firmly. "You need not understand fully now. This decision is not based on status, wealth, or politics. It is based on the strength of character, the ability to act decisively in moments that matter. You have proven yourself, Alex, and that is what matters most." Alex's heart pounded. He had been careful, cautious, and respectful, but he had never imagined that simple acts of composure could lead to such an honor. The entire council was staring, waiting for some reaction. Would he refuse? Would he falter? He straightened his shoulders and, summoning every ounce of courage, bowed deeply. "Your Majesty, I am deeply honored. I will do my best to live up to your trust." A soft smile appeared on the Queen's face. It was small but genuine, and it carried a warmth that few ever saw. "That is all I ask," she said. The chamber erupted into whispers again. Some delegates looked impressed, some suspicious, and others outright angry. The Queen's announcement had shattered centuries of tradition. In the eyes of many, it was unprecedented, even unthinkable. But for Alex, it was the beginning of a journey that would redefine humanity's place in the galaxy. After the announcement, the Queen addressed the council further. "This partnership is not merely symbolic. It represents the idea that courage, intelligence, and character are not bound by species. The galaxy must recognize that true strength comes from action, not merely power or size." Alex felt a sense of pride swelling in him. For the first time, humans were being acknowledged not for what they were perceived to be, but for what they could achieve. And in that moment, he understood something important. He had a responsibility, not just to himself or to the Queen, but to all of humanity. The council session ended, but the aftermath was intense. Delegates approached Alex, some to offer congratulations, others to question the decision, and a few to challenge him directly. A delegation from the planet Xyler, known for their strict adherence to hierarchy, approached with narrowed eyes. "Human," one of them said, their voice like grinding metal, "do you realize the implications of being the Queen's spouse?" You are untested in matters of governance, diplomacy, and strategy. Many lives will depend on your judgment. Can you truly rise to the occasion? Alex met their gaze steadily. I may not have your centuries of experience, but I will learn. I will listen. And when the time comes, I will act. I may be human, but humans are capable of more than you realize. The Xyler delegate paused, considering his words. After a long moment, they nodded slowly. We will watch you carefully. Do not disappoint us, or the Queen. Word of the announcement spread quickly through the galactic capital. Holographic news feeds displayed Alex's face alongside the Queen's, with headlines describing the unprecedented human partnership. Street vendors and citizens discussed it in every corner of the city, some amazed, some skeptical, but all curious. Alex and Mara returned to their temporary quarters, exhausted but exhilarated. Mara shook her head in disbelief. I never thought I'd see the day a human was chosen in such a way. The Queen, she is bold. And you are braver than I realized. Alex sank into a chair, trying to process everything. I don't know if I'm ready for this, he admitted. I've spent my whole life studying diplomacy, but nothing prepared me for being this. You will adapt, Mara said confidently. You've already proven that humans can think fast, stay calm, and make things work. Now the galaxy will see it too. The next few days were a whirlwind. The Queen personally summoned Alex to her private chambers to discuss what his new role would entail. He learned about the responsibilities of being the Queen's spouse, not just ceremonial but practical. He would be involved in high-level discussions, strategic planning, and diplomacy across the galaxy. What worries me, Alex said one evening, is not the work itself. It's the perception. The other species, they will doubt me, judge me, maybe even try to undermine me. The Queen regarded him thoughtfully. Doubt is natural. Underestimation can be dangerous, but it can also be an advantage. Many see humans as weak, but you have already shown them that we can be underestimated at our peril. You must continue to act with courage, intelligence, and decisiveness. That is how you will earn respect. Alex nodded, absorbing every word. The Queen had a vision, and somehow he was now a part of it. And though he felt overwhelmed, a spark of determination ignited within him. He would not fail, not for himself, not for the Queen, and not for humanity. The days following the announcement were filled with challenges. Alex had to learn alien protocols, understand advanced technology, and navigate political intrigues that spanned entire star systems. Yet with every small success, resolving disputes between delegates, offering solutions in meetings, and demonstrating human adaptability, he began to gain allies and admirers. Even skeptics started to notice. A delegation from the planet Vorton, known for their sharp intellect and rigid structure, approached him after a tense council meeting. You are different from what we expected, one of them admitted. Perhaps there is more to humanity than we believed. Alex allowed himself a small, proud smile. Perhaps the Queen's choice was beginning to make sense to others. And in the quiet of his quarters each night, he thought of the Queen, of the trust she had placed in him, and of the extraordinary journey that had only just begun. The galaxy was vast, full of danger, wonder, and opportunity. And for the first time, Alex felt ready to face it, not as a mere human, but as the spouse of the most mighty Queen of the galaxy. Life in the galactic capital was nothing like Alex Mercer had imagined. The city was enormous, a labyrinth of soaring towers, glowing transit tubes, and marketplaces where goods from hundreds of planets were traded. Every street seemed alive with alien species of every shape, size, and color. Some had translucent skin that glowed faintly, others had multiple limbs, each moving independently. The human's senses struggled to process everything, yet Alex found himself fascinated. Yet fascination did not make adaptation any easier. Being declared the spouse of the most mighty Queen of the galaxy brought more than honor. It brought expectations, scrutiny, and pressure. Every move he made was observed, every word carefully measured. Aliens who had ruled for centuries now looked at him with suspicion, curiosity, and in some cases thinly veiled disdain. Mara walked beside him one morning, carrying a stack of reports. Council meetings start again today. You need to be ready, she said. And remember, Alex, everyone here is testing you, not just the humans. Even the Queen's closest advisors want to see if you are truly capable. Alex nodded. He knew she was right. Yesterday, the announcement had caused shock and surprise. Today, the real trial began, living in the court, earning respect, and proving that a human could be more than underestimated. The first challenge came during a strategy session. The room was filled with holographic displays of star systems, trade routes, and fleet positions. Alien generals, diplomats, and scientists sat around the table, each presenting reports, plans, and data streams. Alex felt out of place, a human among beings whose lifespans sometimes reached millennia. "Human," said a tall, insected general from the planet Krylon, his mandibles clicking as he spoke. "What can you possibly contribute to our strategic planning? You are untrained in warfare, technology, and fleet management." Alex took a deep breath. "I may not have your years of experience," he said carefully, "but I can offer a fresh perspective. Sometimes looking at a problem differently reveals solutions that experience alone cannot see." The general scoffed, clearly unimpressed. Other delegates murmured, some nodding, some whispering doubts. Alex felt the pressure, but he remembered the Queen's words: courage, intelligence, and decisiveness. Minutes later, a critical problem was presented. A series of trade ships had gone missing in a disputed sector. The generals proposed a straightforward patrol, but their plan was slow, predictable, and vulnerable to ambush. Alex leaned forward. "If I may," he said, "the missing ships are likely avoiding predictable patrols. If we use a pattern that seems random to them, but is calculated using probability and timing, we can anticipate their path and ensure their safety." He sketched a simple plan on the holographic table, using basic logic and human intuition. To his surprise, the alien analysts paused, studying his calculations. After a tense silence, one of the oldest advisors, a being from the planet Illora, nodded. "This is unusual, but it could work." The Queen, watching silently from her seat, smiled faintly. Alex felt a surge of relief. One small victory, but a victory nonetheless. Over the next days, the trials continued. Every session, every social interaction, every ceremonial duty was a test. Alex had to learn alien etiquette, adapt to their food, and understand customs that had existed for millennia. A wrong gesture could be seen as offensive. A mispronounced title could spark conflict. One afternoon, during a formal dinner in the Queen's private quarters, Alex found himself seated between two alien dignitaries known for their sharp intellect and influence. One of them, a tall, serpentine diplomat from the planet Serath, leaned toward him. "You are the human," the diplomat hissed. "Do you realize how many eyes are on you? One mistake and your species will be ridiculed across the galaxy." Alex nodded, remaining calm. "I understand," he said simply, "but I also know that mistakes are opportunities to learn. If we are careful and attentive, even small actions can build trust." The diplomat's eyes narrowed, but he said nothing more. Alex realized that in court life, diplomacy often meant staying silent and observing as much as speaking. Not all trials were political. Alex soon discovered that the court had its own traditions and competitions, designed to test mental and physical ability. He had to participate in a ceremonial game called the Holomaze, a holographic challenge where participants navigated complex puzzles that simulated dangerous environments. His opponents included beings who had trained in this since birth, species with multiple brains or senses far beyond human capacity. Alex felt nervous but determined. The maze was complex, shifting, and full of unexpected obstacles. Yet he relied on creativity, observation, and human adaptability. Where other competitors relied on brute strength or instinct, Alex noticed patterns, improvised solutions, and used logic in ways no alien had considered. By the end, Alex had completed the maze faster than many others. Some delegates were astonished, others were grudgingly impressed. The Queen, watching from her elevated seat, nodded approvingly. "Your ingenuity is remarkable," she said quietly to herself, though Alex heard it. Through these trials, Alex began to realize something profound. Humans were underestimated not because they were weak, but because their strengths were different. They relied on adaptability, creativity, and cooperation, qualities that could surprise even the most advanced species. However, not all were pleased with his progress. Certain factions within the court whispered about his presence. "A human as the Queen's spouse?" they muttered. Unthinkable. Alex knew that some would try to undermine him, testing his patience and resolve. One morning, a delegation from the planet Vordax approached him with a subtle challenge. They presented a political dilemma. Two allied planets were in conflict over resource distribution, and the standard diplomatic protocols were failing. Alex studied the problem carefully. Instead of relying on tradition, he proposed a solution that combined fairness, logic, and incentives for cooperation. The aliens were skeptical at first. "This is unconventional," one said, but when the plan was implemented, it succeeded in resolving the conflict peacefully. Alex had not only solved the problem, but earned the respect of a group that had doubted him. Even in smaller moments, Alex's human qualities shone. During a formal feast, he noticed a young alien delegate being teased by older members of her species. Without thinking, he intervened politely, offering words of support and encouragement. To his surprise, the queen observed quietly, a faint smile on her lips. "Compassion is as important as courage," she had whispered later. Weeks passed, and Alex slowly adapted to court life. The initial shock of being the queen's spouse faded, replaced by a growing confidence. He learned to anticipate political moves, navigate cultural nuances, and act decisively when needed. His successes were small but cumulative, each one strengthening his position and reputation. One evening, as he walked through the palace gardens with Mara, he reflected on how far he had come. The gardens were breathtaking, floating platforms with glowing plants, streams that shimmered under alien lights, and creatures that defied imagination. "I never imagined this life," he said quietly. "I always thought humans were ordinary. Now I'm part of a court where every decision can affect billions of lives." Mara smiled. "You're doing more than you realize. You're proving that humans have something unique, something that other species often overlook: adaptability, intelligence, and courage. That is why the Queen chose you." Alex nodded, feeling a mixture of pride and humility. He understood that the journey was far from over. Court life was not just about surviving. It was about thriving, proving human worth, and learning to navigate a galaxy that had once underestimated his species. The Queen summoned him one evening to her private chamber. The room was filled with soft light reflecting off crystalline walls. She regarded him with calm intensity. "Alex," she said, "you are learning quickly. Your actions have already changed how many view humans, but the true test is not yet over. The galaxy is vast and threats will come. You must continue to grow, not just for yourself, but for all who believe in the potential of humanity." Alex bowed. "I will do my best, Your Majesty. I promise to learn and act wisely." A faint smile appeared on her face. "I know you will. That is why I chose you." As he left her chamber, Alex felt a mixture of pride, determination, and anticipation. Court life was challenging, full of political intrigue, cultural nuances, and social pressures. But it also revealed the extraordinary strengths of humans, the ability to adapt, think creatively, and act decisively. And he knew, deep in his heart, that the galaxy had only begun to see what humans were truly capable of. The calm of the galactic capital was shattered one morning by a warning that sent ripples through the palace walls. Sirens blared, echoing across crystal corridors and grand plazas. Hollow screens across the city flashed urgent messages. Unidentified fleet detected at the outer sectors, potential threat to the capital. Alex Mercer had been in the Queen's chambers reviewing trade negotiations when the alarms sounded. Mara rushed in, her face pale but focused. "Alex, the sensors indicate a massive fleet approaching. They're not responding to communication attempts." Alex's heart pounded. "How massive?" he asked. "Larger than any defensive fleet we have on standby," Mara replied. "And their approach is calculated, precise. This isn't a raid of opportunity, it's an attack." The Queen, seated calmly on her elevated throne, observed the reports with sharp, focused eyes. "Alex," she said, "this is where your human perspective may help. We need unconventional thinking. The fleet is strong but predictable. How can we respond?" Alex swallowed his fear and approached the strategy table, studying the holographic projections of the enemy fleet. Alien generals had already begun proposing standard maneuvers: intercept, blockade, or defensive formation. Each plan was logical, based on years of military strategy, but Alex noticed something others had overlooked. "Their movement patterns are predictable," he said carefully. "They are following a calculated path, probably assuming we will respond traditionally. We can use this against them." The generals exchanged skeptical glances. A crustacean-like commander clicked his mandibles in disbelief. "You are human," he said. "How can your insight rival millennia of warfare experience?" Alex met his gaze steadily. I may not have centuries of training, but humans think differently. We improvise, adapt, and find solutions others overlook. Let me propose a plan. He outlined his strategy on the holographic display. Instead of sending fleets head-on, they would deploy decoys and diversionary holograms, drawing the enemy into a calculated trap. Meanwhile, small, highly mobile strike teams would intercept key ships, targeting command vessels first. The plan relied on creativity, adaptability, and precise timing rather than sheer strength. The generals murmured among themselves. One, an elder of the planet Zorath, studied the plan. This is unorthodox, but it could work. Only humans would think of using deception in this way. The Queen nodded slowly. Prepare the defenses as he suggests. Alex, coordinate the strike teams. This is your plan now. Alex felt a surge of determination. The weight of responsibility was enormous, but he remembered the Queen's trust. Every moment mattered. Within hours, the capital's defenses were in motion. Holographic decoys were deployed, shimmering across the outer sectors, while real fleets moved silently, hidden by the shadows of nearby asteroids. Alex worked closely with human and alien officers, issuing orders, calculating timing, and anticipating every possible reaction from the approaching fleet. As the enemy drew closer, tension gripped the city. Citizens and diplomats alike watched the skies anxiously. Alex, standing on the observation deck of the palace, felt a strange mixture of fear and focus. This was the moment to prove not just human courage, but human ingenuity. The first clash came quickly. Enemy ships, lured by the decoys, pursued false targets, leaving their main fleet exposed. Strike teams, moving with precision, intercepted the command vessels. Explosions lit up the void, flashes reflected in Alex's eyes. Some generals muttered in disbelief. "This is effective," one said quietly. "No one expected humans to orchestrate such a strategy." The battle continued for hours, with Alex coordinating moves, adapting to new developments, and thinking 3 steps ahead. Every decision relied on instinct, observation, and human logic. When one strike team faced unexpected resistance, Alex devised a quick alternative route, saving dozens of ships. Meanwhile, back in the palace, the Queen observed quietly, her expression calm but proud. "Humans are underestimated for one reason," she said softly to an aide. "They think differently. They see solutions where others see problems." The enemy fleet, now realizing the trap, attempted to retreat, but Alex anticipated this move as well. Using a combination of maneuverable ships and controlled detonations, they cut off the escape routes, forcing the attackers into surrender. By the end of the engagement, the enemy fleet had suffered significant losses and was forced to withdraw. The capital remained intact, and the citizens erupted in cheers. For the first time in history, humans had played a decisive role in defending the heart of the galaxy, not through size, firepower, or centuries of training, but through ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. Word of the victory spread quickly. Across the capital, hollow screens displayed the human who had led the defense. Alex Mercer, the Queen's spouse, had become a symbol of hope, proving that humans were far more capable than previously believed. In the aftermath, the Queen summoned Alex to her private chambers. "You exceeded even my expectations," she said. "Your strategy saved countless lives today. You have proven that humans are not to be underestimated." Alex felt a mix of pride and humility. "I only did what I could," he said. "I had guidance from the Queen and the Council, but humans can think differently. That's our strength." The Queen's eyes softened. "It is more than that, Alex. It is courage, decisiveness, and the ability to act in moments of uncertainty. Today you showed all of these. You are not just my spouse. You are a partner, a strategist, and a leader." In the days following the battle, the court's perception of Alex shifted dramatically. Alien delegates who had once doubted him now approached with respect, some even seeking his counsel on issues beyond military strategy. Humans, once seen as minor players in galactic politics, were now recognized as capable, adaptable, and courageous. Even smaller moments mattered. Alex began receiving requests from ambassadors for advice on diplomacy, trade, and governance. His human perspective, creative, practical, and sometimes unconventional, provided solutions that alien species had overlooked, yet challenges remained. Some factions within the council continued to doubt him, testing his patience and resolve. They attempted to provoke him, challenge his decisions, or undermine his authority. But Alex had learned to remain calm, observe, and respond thoughtfully. Each interaction strengthened his position and reputation. One evening, as he walked through the palace gardens with Mara, he reflected on the recent events. The gardens glowed softly, alien flora casting multicolored light across floating walkways. "Humans are underestimated," Alex said quietly. "But we have strengths that others don't see: creativity, adaptability, courage, and now the galaxy is beginning to notice." Mara nodded. "You've done more than survive court life or defend the capital. You've shown that humans can make a difference, that we can be leaders in a galaxy that thought we were weak." Alex smiled, feeling a mix of exhaustion and determination. The battle had been won, but the journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast, filled with challenges, mysteries, and dangers yet to be discovered. And as he looked up at the stars, he knew one thing: humanity had only just begun to prove its worth. The Queen had seen potential in him, and now the galaxy itself was beginning to recognize it. In the quiet of the night, as the capital rested, Alex prepared for the next challenges. The threats would continue, the politics would grow more complex, and the expectations would rise. But he was ready. Humans had the ability to think differently, act decisively, and inspire loyalty. And Alex would continue to show the galaxy that humans were not merely survivors. They were extraordinary. The galactic capital had returned to a fragile calm. Citizens and delegates alike were still abuzz with the news of the failed attack and the human who had led the defense. Alex Mercer, once an ordinary diplomat, now stood as a recognized figure across the galaxy. Yet, peace was always temporary in a universe as vast and unpredictable as theirs. The Queen summoned him early one morning. Her presence in the royal chambers was as commanding as ever, yet there was a softness in her gaze. "Alex," she said, "your courage and ingenuity have proven invaluable. But there is one final test, one that will confirm humanity's place in this galaxy and your role alongside me." Alex straightened, attentive. "I am ready, Your Majesty. Whatever is required, I will do my best." "The Council of Elders," the Queen continued, "is divided. Some delegates still question a human's ability to participate in governance at this level. Today, we face the challenge of convincing them, through demonstration, that your wisdom and humanity are essential to our leadership." Alex felt the weight of responsibility. It was not just about his honor, but about proving that humans could be leaders, collaborators, and heroes. The council chamber was filled with an atmosphere of tense anticipation. Delegates from hundreds of species had gathered, some skeptical, others curious, all eager to see what would happen next. The Queen took her seat, elevated above the assembly, her eyes fixed on Alex. "Today," she began, "we will engage in a simulation exercise, a crisis scenario that tests our ability to protect the galaxy and ensure the stability of our systems. Our goal is not only to demonstrate strategy, but to show leadership, collaboration, and decisive action." Alex studied the holographic projection of a galaxy in turmoil. Multiple sectors were facing natural disasters, pirate attacks, and resource shortages simultaneously. Traditional plans relied on compartmentalized responses, assigning each crisis to a separate fleet or diplomat. But Alex noticed patterns that suggested a unified approach could be far more effective. He stepped forward. "Your Majesty, delegates," he said, "this scenario is complex because it appears fragmented, but many crises are interconnected. If we coordinate responses using a system of adaptive teams that can move quickly and respond to real-time changes, we can stabilize multiple sectors simultaneously." The room erupted in murmurs. Many delegates had not expected a human to propose such a comprehensive solution. Some whispered skepticism, others intrigued curiosity. Alex continued, outlining a detailed plan. He showed how adaptive teams could share information instantly, how resources could be allocated dynamically, and how potential conflicts could be prevented before they escalated. His plan relied on human intuition, adaptability, and creative problem-solving. After a tense pause, the Queen spoke. "Implement the plan," she said. "Let us see its effectiveness." Holographic simulations lit up the chamber, showing fleets and resources moving according to Alex's strategy. Initially, there were doubts, small failures in response times, miscommunications, but Alex adjusted instantly, improvising solutions with calm precision. Within minutes, the crises were stabilized. Trade routes were secured, planetary disasters mitigated, and pirate threats neutralized. The council fell silent. Some delegates were stunned, unable to comprehend how a human had orchestrated such a rapid and effective solution. Others exchanged impressed glances. One elder from the planet Zorath spoke carefully, his mandibles clicking with hesitation. "This is extraordinary. I did not expect a human to propose such coordination, much less execute it successfully." "It appears we underestimated your species." Alex nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and pride. "We are capable of more than tradition and appearances suggest. Adaptation, observation, and cooperation allow humans to respond to unexpected challenges." The Queen's expression softened. "Alex," she said, "you have not only proven yourself, but you have proven humanity's potential. Your actions today will be remembered across the galaxy." The council erupted in applause, some delegates rising to offer formal acknowledgement. Aliens who had once doubted Alex now approached him with respect, asking questions, seeking guidance, and acknowledging his achievements. For the first time, humans were no longer seen as fragile or inexperienced. They were recognized as capable, intelligent, and courageous. Over the following days, Alex worked closely with the Queen and her advisors, taking on responsibilities that had once seemed impossible. He mediated disputes between planets, coordinated trade agreements, and offered solutions to political crises that had long been stalled. With every success, the Council's confidence in him and in humanity grew. Yet it was not just political skill that earned him respect. Alex's human qualities, compassion, empathy, and fairness also left a lasting impression. When a dispute arose between two alien students in the Royal Academy, he listened patiently, understood both perspectives, and helped them find a solution that left both parties satisfied. His ability to inspire loyalty and cooperation became legendary in the capital. One evening, as Alex walked through the palace gardens with the Queen, he reflected on everything that had happened. The gardens glowed under soft bioluminescent light, and alien birds with shimmering feathers sang melodies that resonated through the floating walkways. "You have changed the course of history," the Queen said, her voice calm but filled with admiration. "Not through power alone, but through intelligence, courage, and your human perspective. The galaxy has learned to see humans differently because of you." Alex smiled. "I only acted as best I could. I had guidance, trust, and the example of the Queen to inspire me. Humans have potential, but we still need to prove ourselves." "You have proven more than you realize," she said. "Your actions today will shape humanity's place among the stars for generations, and it is only the beginning." In the days that followed, celebrations spread across the capital. Hollow screens displayed Alex and the Queen together, symbols of unity and progress. Citizens from dozens of species sent messages of respect and admiration, acknowledging the courage and ingenuity of humans. Alex and the Queen also began planning initiatives to foster cooperation between species, using humans' unique adaptability and creativity to build alliances, improve trade, and prevent conflicts. What began as a personal partnership had grown into a partnership for the galaxy itself. Yet, challenges remained. Rumors of rival factions plotting in distant sectors reached the capital. Pirate groups, rogue diplomats, and natural disasters reminded Alex that vigilance was always necessary. But he faced these challenges with confidence, knowing that human ingenuity, combined with the Queen's wisdom, could overcome even the most daunting obstacles. During a quiet evening in the observation tower, Alex gazed at the stars. Planets, moons, and distant nebulae shimmered in the void. For centuries, humans had been overlooked in galactic affairs. Now, through courage, intelligence, and unwavering determination, they had earned their place. Mara, standing beside him, smiled. "You've done it, Alex. You've shown the galaxy that humans are extraordinary, not because of strength, but because of heart, mind, and courage." Alex nodded. "It feels surreal, but I know this is just the beginning. The galaxy is vast, and humans have much more to offer." In that moment, the Queen joined them, her presence commanding yet comforting. She placed a hand on Alex's shoulder. "Together, we will face whatever challenges come. Your bravery and humanity will guide us, and the galaxy will follow." Alex felt a surge of determination. For the first time, he truly understood the meaning of partnership, not just as the Queen's spouse, but as a representative of humanity. The journey had been difficult, filled with doubt, trials, and danger. Yet through every challenge, Humans had shown their strength, adaptability, and ingenuity. The court, once skeptical, now celebrated him. The citizens of the capital, once indifferent to humans, now looked upon them with admiration. And across the galaxy, stories of a human who had defended the capital and earned the Queen's trust spread like starlight. In the quiet of the night, Alex and the Queen stood together on the palace balcony, gazing at the galaxy. Stars sparkled like diamonds, distant planets glowed with life, and nebulae painted the heavens with color. "Do you think humanity is ready for all this?" Alex asked quietly. "They are," the Queen replied, "because they have you. And you have shown them, and all of us, what humans are truly capable of." Alex smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility and the thrill of possibility. He had come from a small, overlooked planet, underestimated and dismissed. Now, as the Queen's spouse and a recognized figure in the galaxy, he had proven that humans were not just survivors. They were leaders, innovators, and heroes. The galaxy was vast, filled with challenges yet to come. But Alex Mercer, once an ordinary human, had earned a place among the stars. And with courage, intelligence, and determination, he would continue to shape the future, for himself, for the Queen, and for all of humanity. As the stars stretched endlessly before them, Alex knew this was only the beginning. The most mighty Queen of the galaxy had chosen him, not just as a spouse, but as a partner, a strategist, and a symbol of humanity's extraordinary potential. Together, they would face whatever the universe had in store. And humanity, once overlooked, would no longer be underestimated.